Well, hello folks. Welcome to Fishing for Real. In today's video, I'm going to announce the winners of the 100 subscriber giveaway. The first place winner was RobD72. Now, RobD72 said he was into bass and crappie. So to start it off, I've got in this Flambeau Z-Rust Max tackle box. It has a protective of some sort added to it that prevents rusting of the hooks and the gear that you put in it. So it should help prolong the life of your tackle. And, it's got several compartments in here. You can adjust them as you wish. And it should prove to be very handy. And I hope RobD72 enjoys using it. Now, next I've got a couple of items that I've just started using. I've got a Z-Man chatterbait. And this is kind of in a, it's a sexy, chartreuse sexy shad. It kind of looks like a bluegill if you ask me. And which bass up shallow are more likely going to be feeding on bluegill than shad, but I like this color. This next one is going to be a good heavy cover swim jig. I started using these last year. I really, really like them. I caught my personal best largemouth on one of these. 6 pounds about. And I just cannot speak highly enough of these. They're great tools. Now to tip those, I've got these Lost Creek swimming minnows. This is in a shad pattern. It looks to me like it could be shad or bluegill. You could tip either one of these jigs with those to fish and imitate a bluegill. And I've also got some of these Rage swimmers here. This is in a kind of a shiny shad pattern here. You can tip this, use this to tip these jigs as well. So those are some pretty good largemouth or smallmouth tackle there. And I've got some Z-Man Finesse Shroom jig heads. And then to go with that, I've got some Z-Man Finesse TRD peanut butter and jelly. These dudes are some serious bass getters as well. And then to put those with those grubs, I've got some good Berkley Fusion jig heads here, and these are very high quality jig heads. I've got another Berkley Fusion underspin here. These things are pretty good when the shad are up swimming, and of course you couldn't finish without having a good old chrome and blueback rattle trap. I hope he catches a big one on this. And kind of an in-between thing, I picked these up the other day. These are some Berkley power bait 2.5-inch minnows in the emerald shiner color. I think these things would be killer for brim, crappie, or trout. So I hope he enjoys those. And I've got some jig heads here. I've got some Arky 16th ounce in pink, and then I got some 32nd ounce in yellow. Those are very good colors. And I've got some Southern Pro jig heads here in the yellow. These are kind of a minnow head look to them. And I've got some solid body tube jigs in a pink and chartreuse, which I think will be a very effective color. And some good old Barbie Garland electric chicken baby shads to put on these jig heads and maybe catch a few crappie. And then these shiny hiney. I picked these up at a local tackle shop. I think these will be some crappie slayers too. And then I've got these little crappie magnet Popeye jigs. I caught a very nice 2+ pound smallmouth on one of these suckers when I was thinking I was going to catch a crappie. So these are good for just about anything. And I got some snips to go on his vest or whatever. It's got a little retracting cord there and little scissors down here that'll cut monofilament and braid. So I've got a pair of these I use all the time. They're very handy. Also, to top it off, I've got some curved jaw forceps. I use these, take these everywhere I go. The curved jaw is very effective at getting a hook out of a fish's mouth, much more than the straight ones. So RobD72, I hope you enjoy this tackle, this gear that I've got you here, and I hope you catch some real nice fish. The second place winner is Let's Crappie Fish. As the name would imply, he has a YouTube channel titled Let's Crappie Fish. And he said he likes to fish for crappie, which doesn't come as a great surprise. That's wonderful. I like to fish for crappie too. So let's crappie fish. I'm going to send you another Z-Rust Max box to put some of your hooks and gear in. I'm going to send you some Bobby Garland strollers in bluegrass. These really caught me a lot of fish this past spring. I got some more Bobby Garland baby shads in blue ice. I've got some Bobby Garland baby shads in monkey milk. And some baby shad in bluegrass. Once again, these caught me some good fish this past spring. I've also got a pair of these shiny heinies to send out to you. Again, I think these will be some great jigs for fishing crappie in the brush or around timber. I've got some painted jig heads here I'll send over to you to put those on. I've got a set of these Crappie Magnet Popeye jigs. Again, I caught a nice smallmouth on these earlier this year. I'm going to send you this Thill crappie cork. It can be either a clip-on cork or a through the line through the cork crappie cork. And then digging into my personal stash, which is about the hardest thing to do, I'm going to send you some of these pink and chartreuse tube jigs. Now, I've caught an absolute lot of crappie, white bass, yellow bass, even hybrid on these this year. These have been a very productive bait. They may not have a lot of action, but I've trolled them behind the boat and caught some nice fish. And then to top it off, I've got a little squirt bottle here of slab sauce, crappie.com slab sauce. Richard Jean, the fishing machine, uses this, and if he uses it, it must be good. So let's crappie fish. I hope you enjoy these items and catch some real slabs this year. Third place winner goes to Pedro Benitez. Pedro says he's into largemouth and trout. So Pedro, I'm going to send you one of these Z-Rust Max containers to keep your gear safe for up to 5 years. I've got some Berkley Fusion jig heads, swim bait jig heads. Those are some awesome jig heads. Got a strong hook on them. Some Strike King swim bait jig heads. And to tip those, I've got some Rage Swimmers. These are Pearl Flash. These are some good shad imitators, small bait fish imitators. Wouldn't be complete without sending you this rattle trap here. Let's see what this color is. It's a Bloodline Shad. Bloodline Shad. It's got a shimmery side with a blue back. That's pretty hard to beat right there. Got some Berkley Power Bait Pogie Swim Shads. These are pre-rigged. I used to scoff at things like this. I thought they were kind of gimmicky, but I used some recently and was quite surprised with how well they did. They're very good swim bait. You just tie them on and you're good to go. They work very well for me. Now moving over, I'm going to also send you a little 60-inch quick measuring tape. This is a pretty handy little thing. It's got a little, it pulls out and it locks out, and then you push the little button to make it retract. That's handy because the silly thing won't keep retracting on you when you're trying to measure. I'm going to toss in a couple of these little Jingle Bell clips. I did a little short on these. I found these. I think they're pretty neat. You clip them on your rod without scratching anything or pinching your line. Very handy deals. And of course, beetle spin. You can catch just about anything on these. These are kind of just an extra throw-in I thought I'd give you. See what you might catch you some little panfish or something. Have some fun with that. As far as the trout goes, I got this Rapala. This is a nifty dude right here. This is a good size, good color. Imitates, it says it's a hot steel. To me, it looks kind of like a little trout, and I think that might be killer for trout. I've also got some Berkley Power Eggs, Magnum Floating Power Eggs. I use these extensively when I'm trout fishing, when they stock the trout around here. We got some Eagle Claw size 6 bait holder hooks. Now you put one of these on there and tip it with a little bit of night crawler. and you're good to go. You can also fish just one of these on one of these mosquito hooks. It's not quite a circle hook, but it's a good light hook that these should float up pretty well. You can use one. If you use two, what I've found is a lot of times it'll induce a lot of line twist using 2 power eggs. Try one. If you want to try two, put you a swivel a couple of feet up above that and you're good to go. Now, great trout bait. Got some rooster tails here. Little 1/8 ounce rooster tails. I got a fire tiger and a glitter fire tiger. I think these very closely imitate a little trout in a way, and I think trout are cannibalistic. They like to eat their little babies. And to top it off, I've got this little pack of trout magnets, neon kit. I've got one of these myself. These are very effective for trout and brim. And crappie, of course. You can catch crappie on these. Now, I will note that these little packs they come in tend to warp. And that's why I've got these taped tight shut. And as a tip, notice here's my pack right here. I keep a rubber band on to keep the thing from popping open, because you see they'll pop open. So Pedro, be advised, get yourself a heavy rubber band to put on this to keep it from popping open in your tackle box. Again, Pedro, I want to thank you for subscribing and commenting in the 100 subscriber giveaway. The 4th place winner is Carmen, not in San Diego. Carmen, I appreciate you viewing the video, commenting, subscribing. Now, Carmen is a pursuer of trout. So I've got a Z-Rust Max little box to put some trout gear in. Got a couple of these little Jingle Bell rattles if Carmen wants to put them on their fishing pole to monitor bites. Got a little tape measure here. Retractable tape measure. It'll be handy to measure those trout to make sure they're legal. Got to make sure they're legal. Got some of my favorite power bait Magnum floating eggs here. These are a sunrise. These are supposed a real good color. They're kind of a mix of orange and yellow and a little tint of red. These are really good for any species of trout. And then, of course, to put those on, I've got some size 6 bait holder hooks. You put one of those trout eggs on here and then tip it with a piece of night crawler, either real or artificial. That's a real trout getter. And I've got some mosquito hooks here that you can put just one of those trout eggs on if you want to. It's a light hook. 1 or 2 eggs will float that up off the bottom. If you're in a current, you might want to just stick with 1 egg or put a swivel in there, because 2 eggs, unless you hook them perfectly, will twist your line. They'll spin in the current. Got a couple of good old-fashioned beetle spins here. 2 different colors, the black and yellow, and then a chartreuse black. I've used these for many, many years and caught lots of fish on them. You can catch panfish, and I bet you can catch some trout on them too. And of course, I've got another Rapala. It's a floating F5 size hot steel. Again, I think it mimics a little brown trout, little rainbow trout. And I think it's a trout getter. So I've used some of these to get trout, just throwing it out, letting it float, twitch it a little bit around dusk, and they'll come get it. And of course, I've got some great trout lures here, the good old-fashioned rooster tail. And these have a coloration that mimics a trout, a small trout. And I think these are going to be very good for you, Carmen. I hope you enjoy them and catch some good trout with those. And then to top it off, got you a pack of these trout magnets, the neon kit as well. 10 of each one of these, and some different heads, some chrome, some gold, and some black trout magnet heads. And like I told Pedro, you could get yourself a good strong rubber band, because these things are warped. They warp, they don't seal good. Just want to let you know that ahead of time so they don't spill out in your tackle box like mine did. Again, Carmen, I thank you for viewing, subscribing, and commenting and entering the contest. And the 5th and final winner is Tana Elliott. Now, Tana says they're into all types of fishing. So to start Tana off, I've got a package of these pre-rigged Pogie swim shads. 1/8 ounce, they're 2 inch. These are great for multi-species. Anytime the shad or any kind of little bait fish in your lake are this size, you're going to catch something with one of these. They're pre-rigged, so you don't got to fool with them. You know, use them as long as you can. They're scented. Fish bite and don't let go. I hope you catch a lunker with one of these. I've got a good old-fashioned Rapala, floating Rapala. I've caught a lot of crappie this year on trolling one of these. So you can troll it, you can cast and retrieve it anywhere there's panfish or even bass. You can catch you'd be surprised what you can catch on one of these. And of course, I've got you a tape measure here that you can measure your catch with. Make sure they're legal. Gotta be legal. Got you a couple of little strike indicators here. I like these because they won't scratch your rod. They won't pinch your line and cut it off. I think these will be beneficial if you're fishing something on the bottom. And speaking of fishing something on the bottom, I've got some Berkley Power Bait eggs here, Magnum floating eggs, sunrise color, a mixture of yellow and pink. These are excellent trout bait. Of course, you can catch just about anything that might eat a fish egg. It's got a scent to it to attract trout, anything. Get you some bait holder hooks here. You put one of these trout eggs on there. A piece of a pinched off night crawler or an earthworm, natural or artificial worm. You can catch you some trout or just about anything else with these. I've got some lightweight mosquito hooks here too. You can put just the power egg on here and it should kind of hold it up, float up off the bottom a little bit. If there's no current, you can put 2 on here to float it very well. If there's a current, I recommend just 1 unless you can rig them straight, or put a swivel on there to keep them, because a lot of times they'll spin in the current and twist your line badly. So be advised. I got you a couple of beetle spins here. These are my favorite colors. These are kind of like a catalpa worm. They look like a little caterpillar. So do these. These are very effective baits for panfish. I got you a pack of Bobby Garland baby shads here in monkey milk. That's a popular color. In clear waters where there's little minnows, little glass minnows, etc. It's a good crappie bait or panfish bait. Then I've got you a couple of rooster tails here that are kind of a trout-looking pattern. They'll catch anything. These are universally popular lures that catch anything from trout, panfish, largemouth bass, smallmouth bass, you name it. You can catch them with one of these. Now, Tana, I hope you catch a lunker with one of these or all of these. I wish you nothing but success. Now, thank you for subscribing. I thank you for commenting, participating in the giveaway. Again, I thank everyone who participated. I look forward to the 1,000 subscriber giveaway someday in the future. I'd love to give away a bass boat, but I don't think I can afford it. Thanks again, everybody. I'll see you next time.